Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about a Hulu release from earlier this year, The Binge. Before I begin, let me know in the comments if you are looking forward to this or what your thoughts are if you've seen it already. And make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these reviews, because it helps me out immensely if you do that. Also, if you're new here and you like movies, please consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. But now, let's jump right into it. This takes place during a time where all drugs and alcohol are illegal, with the exception of one day out of the year called the Binge Day. And on one particular Binge Day, three unpopular classmates, played by Skyler Gisondo, Eduardo Franco, and Dexter Darden, attempt to make their way to a party only to have many obstacles get in their way. This is directed by Jeremy Garlick, and this is his second feature film behind the camera, the first being The Wedding Ringer, though he's also written a few films, including The Breakup, which stars Vince Vaughn, who's also in this as the school principal, as well as an uncredited rewrite of The Hangover. This was released back in August, but this is the only one of the Hulu releases from this year that I don't have a review for. And I actually saw this around the time of its release, and I kept putting off talking about it. I'll be honest, I really didn't want to talk about this because I really did not like this movie whatsoever. It's essentially this spoof of The Purge, which I actually haven't seen, but it also mixes in elements of Superbad, Booksmart, Beerfest, and the aforementioned The Hangover, all of which did this way better, because this is such a terrible movie. With the most obvious reason being it just wasn't funny at all. But the main reason it wasn't funny was because every attempt at humor was nothing but totally mean-spirited. I mean, I know the idea with comedies is that you're not supposed to take them so seriously, but you also need to give us emotionally compelling characters who we can connect with somewhat. Our three main characters here, however, are just totally unlikable people. Well, mainly two out of the three. Griffin and Hags, who are Skyler Gisondo and Dexter Darden's characters respectively. They are selfish, obnoxious people who only do things for their own self-interest and can barely get along with each other. They get into arguments a lot, they scream at each other as well as at other people. They're both very unpopular at school, so I guess we're supposed to feel bad for them, but they're very insulting to everyone. The only reason Andrew, Eduardo Franco's character, is with them is because he can get them into the party. They don't particularly like him otherwise and aren't exactly discreet about their disdain for him. They give us next to nothing to work with as far as why we should root for them. The only somewhat likable thing will be Griffin's trying to impress this girl who's going to the party, but he also has a hard time telling her how he really feels, and it leads to some cringeworthy, typical awkward comedy, but that's it. This film has our three characters bounce around from one situation to the next as they face all these difficulties just getting to the party, similar to Superbad and Booksmart, the latter of which coincidentally also has appearances from Gisondo and Franco. But nearly all the setups revolve around the question, how much pain can all these characters in this movie endure? It tries to come off as over the top with these ridiculous attempts at physical comedy, but they're all painfully unfunny. No pun intended. There's one point, for example, where the characters can't get a ride unless they convincingly punch each other and make sure it hurts. There's another scene where they roofie someone unnecessarily. Characters get blackmailed, others get their crap kicked out of them. Even when characters aren't enduring physical pain, they have to sit through all these terribly unfunny jokes about bodily functions and body parts. Some of these conversations will feel like non sequiturs, and there's even a random musical number halfway through about the joys of drugs and alcohol. And it all quickly becomes a chore to sit through. Now, I have nothing against all three of these main actors. They're obviously just working with what they're given. I know this isn't the feature debut of any of them, but this is the first time I've seen them all in starring roles. But they're just not funny here. The material is just so bad that nothing they did could save it. And they have zero chemistry with each other, given what they have to work with. Their characters have three wildly different personalities, with one being stuck up, the other being very vocal, and the other being eccentric. And that's supposed to lead to some wacky hijinks, Odd Couple style, and silly conversations. But it all feels so disjointed. And Vince Vaughn, he tries. He really does. He tries to be a loud, tough guy who has clever insults and threatens everyone every other line, but it doesn't work whatsoever. He has his own minor subplot as he tries to get to his daughter, who also went to this party, and I didn't laugh once. A lot of the jokes revolve around him just insulting teenagers and threatening to beat them up, or in some cases actually getting into physical altercations with them. And as much as he tries, the material is just terrible. I'm glad he also did Freaky this year, and that's the movie of his most people are talking about, because he can be very funny in general and can elevate a film, but he has nothing good to work with here, and it felt more like his subplot was in there just to pad the runtime, as it was mostly unnecessary. This movie is absolutely god-awful to get through. It's obnoxious, crude, lazily written, and painfully unfunny. It's a mix of so many different movies that honestly handle this a lot better. The jokes are terrible and the characters are totally unlikable. At no point do you ever find yourself wanting to root for any of them. It's easily the worst movie I've seen yet from Hulu, and one of the worst movie experiences I've gone through this year. The Binge gets a 0 out of 10. So let me know, did you see The Binge or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you find it funny at all? Did you like the concept, and what's your favorite Vince Vaughn movie? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll catch you next time.